on what I've got. I actually, Jessica was here a few weeks back, or before we went to Texas, I think, right? Yeah, yeah. You were here a couple months ago, and she got up and she had a word for all of us, and I was really impressed. And so I saw her. You were here. Was it a Stump? Where were you? You were a Stump. Were you at Abby Stumval last Saturday night? Yeah. And I said, "Hey, are you coming to AMP?" And she said, "I hadn't planned." I said, "Would you come and would you ask God?" And so she did. And so I'm going to ask her to come up now and share what the Lord has laid on her heart before I get into what I've got. Come on up, Jessica.
Hey, you guys. Can we I guess, just focus on Jesus for a minute? Just close your eyes. Just think about him. Think about his face. Just think about just him. And if you have a heavenly language, just pray in it for a minute. And or just in your spirit, just whatever. Just Jesus, we love you. God, we're here for you, and we're here for you alone. Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit. Come and flow through this place, God. Come and move, heaven, come. It's not about us, it's not about us. It's all about you, God. God, you're so faithful. You're so faithful. You're so good. You've never, ever, 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 ever left your eyes or moved your eyes or taken us down a wrong path. You guys, hold on. Grab a hold of the word faithful and hold it. He is faithful. God is faithful. He's faithful. He is faithful. He is faithful. I don't know why that is going through me like volts right now. He is faithful. He is faithful. He has never abandoned you, ever. It's not in him to do that. God, we welcome you. We welcome your word, God. We welcome your word. Today, as we were worshiping and talking, and I looked up, and this whole wall right there had just had angels sitting all on the top of it, and they were sitting on top of the drum cage, and they're just hanging out, and they were so happy, they were so smiling, and they just heaven. I told you guys last time I was here, heaven loves this place. Heaven is so pleased with what y'all have here, and it's just I don't know a lot of you guys, but I grew up in Georgia, and I'm actually leaving the island on Wednesday to go back to the mainland. And my first day here, I was walking to the grocery store, and I just was looking around, and I said, Lord, what is your heart for Maui? What do you want for Maui? And all of a sudden, I saw the Lord walking. He was kind of walking in front of me, just like walking backwards, and he was twirling a blade of grass in his mouth while he was chewing on it. And he just had this goofy grin on his face. And the only thing I can equate it to really is like a teenage boy who has his eyes set on a girl, and he's determined to get her attention. He's determined to win her. And that was the look on the face of Jesus. And I was like, oh, Lord. You are after Maui. You're after her, and he's going to get her. So he's very confident in that. But as I was praying about you guys this week and just fasting and spending time with the Lord, he kept taking me to the concept of an amp. And what is an amp? What does it do? What purpose does it serve? And my dad is a mechanic and electrician and all that, but I did not get that gene. I cannot work an electric can opener. So I started studying an amp and what it is, and it was Greek to me. But there were some things that I did comprehend and I did get, and they blew my mind. And I think they just speak volumes to who you are as a body. And I knew that the word amp was short for amplifier, but I never knew it was short for a word called ampere, which it's a unit of measurement of electrical current. So as I'm saying these things, think of you as a body and translate these definitions to you as a body of people. So an amp or an ampere is a measurement of electrical current. Heaven is an electrical current that comes down to earth. And you guys play a huge role in sharing that and in spreading this current from heaven. An ampere measures the electromagnetic force between electrical conductors that carry electrical current. Each one of us is a conduit from heaven. An ampere measures the force that is going through these conductors. So each one of you is in here as a conductor, a current carrier from heaven. And this place is a place that helps you realize what you're worth, who you are, what you're carrying, how to use what you're carrying. That's the whole thing behind apostolic, is learning and understanding who you are and what you have. An ampere is also the amount of force that electric current has. You guys are mighty, mighty, mighty. You're mighty because you have all of heaven flowing through you. An amp, short for amplifier, is always found within anything that has a speaker. What do we all have? We have a mouth. All of us have a mouth. We are all an amplifier of heaven. We are all a sound piece of heaven. Every amplifier has I don't know the name of it, but it's got this thing that when a sound comes into it, it records it on something, and then all of the components recreate the sound and project it. So as a conduit of heaven, you are a tape recorder. You are a recorder of the sound of heaven, and you project that sound to the earth. You recreate it, and you project it out. It produces a more powerful version of the audio signal. So that goes back. Heaven is pretty amazing and powerful on its own, but it chooses to work in partnership. So when you partner with heaven, you're producing a more powerful sound than what came into you, because you're now producing it unified instead of it just being heaven or it just being you. There's a piece in an amplifier that when you plug an amplifier in, some sources of energy, and then if any of you are technologically minded, you might understand this, but some put out currents of electricity that flow in all kinds of different directions, and it's a mess, and it's not useful. But this amplifier takes these different currents and it channels them all in the same direction. And then it feeds it through the machine and it powers the machine. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like a mess. Sometimes I feel like everything is going in every different direction and I don't know my right from my left, blah, 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 blah. But I can plug in, I can dial in, I can listen to heaven. And heaven takes my mess and organizes it and does something with it, puts it in a direction. Let's see. I thought this was really neat, and this was kind of like the main point for me when I was reading it. Every amplifier has a thing called a transistor. A transistor is made out of two types of silicone. One silicone is a pure silicone, and a pure silicone, all of the atoms in it are fit together too perfectly for electricity to flow through. So they can't use pure silicone. if they want, depending on the machine. So they use what is called an imperfect silicone in order to conduct electricity. So each one of us, with all of our imperfections, all of our goofiness, our weirdness, our things that are, quirks, if we were perfect, there would be no room for heaven to flow through us. But because we're not perfect, we have these little holes here and there. We have these little places heaven can trickle in and can work through us because we don't have all the answers. We don't know everything. We don't have it all figured out. So just the very nature of an amplifier, it works because it's not perfect. And I thought about that and I thought, man, talk about God. We're perfect in God's eyes. We're his beautiful daughters, his beautiful children. We stand blameless and righteous before him, but we do so because we've now merged with the Spirit of God and we've now merged with the Son of God. So through him and in him, we stand blameless and righteous before the Father. The same way the silicone in the amplifier, when it partners with the current flowing through it, it now becomes perfect because the electricity, the atoms in the electric current fill in the holes in the silicone, and it's now a conductor, and it can flow through. And the interesting thing is, how we hear that spirit bears witness. So you can meet someone, I don't know how many of you have experienced this, but you meet somebody and you just look in their eyes and you know their family. You know their spirit brother or spirit sister. You just see it. It resonates with you. The electric current partners with the atoms of the silicone, and it gives permission for the electricity to flow through because it recognizes it. It knows what it is. It's the gateway. It's the access. So when you partner with the Spirit of God and you become one with him, that's an open access for the electricity of God to flow through you because it bears witness. And you're now an instrument of heaven and a conduit of heaven. And this place, y'all have an amazing grace on you to be a hub, a central point, a location, a center for people to come in, bring what they have, and you have a unique ability to amplify what they have, to help them find their sound, help them find their rhythm, help them find it, help them project it, help them send it out, help them declare it. And today, the activating of the gifts, this is a place where gifts are activated, where people find their rhythm, they find their melody, they find out who they were born to be. And when I was first here, one of the things the Lord showed me was a tunnel, an open heaven, and it expanded and it got bigger, and there were all these arrows pointing out like in every direction on the island. And it wasn't until this morning when I was talking over this with the Lord that another piece of that puzzle come. Do y'all realize that visions sometimes have layers? You can have a vision and then a year later realize another layer to the meaning of the vision. And today he showed me that last time it was meaning that y'all are meant to reach the whole island. You're meant to expand and to branch out and take Maui by force. Take it. But it also means to amplify. You have an open heaven here that is meant to send waves, to send sound waves, to project out to the island. They're kind of here. They have nowhere to go. They're on an island. Go get them. Bring them in. Just make use of what you have and just know that you have angels that hang out here all the time. When you're not here, they're here. They're getting it ready for the next time you're going to be here. So just be encouraged and know that y'all really and truly are a spiritual amplifier. You're a spiritual conduit and you are a spiritual measurement. You measure things. And part of measuring things is, Paul says, to judge, to decree, to declare, to do these things, to look at someone, to bring someone in and say, this is what the Lord sees in you. This is who you are. This is your identity. And speak it. You're then measuring. You're measuring out and saying, this is who you are. This is who you were made to be. And there's a beautiful ability here to do that. So bless you guys. And that was